Before you watch the video, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.
33 Bible verses about fear. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10. So do not fear, for I am with you, do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you, I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Psalm chapter 56 verse 3. When I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Philippians chapter 4 verses 6 to 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 13. For I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. Psalm chapter 118 verse 6. The Lord is with me, I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? 1 John chapter 4 verse 18. There is no fear in love. But perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. Psalm chapter 23 verse 4. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love and self-discipline. Proverbs chapter 29 verse 25. Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. Psalm chapter 27 verse 1. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life, of whom shall I be afraid? Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you, he will never leave you nor forsake you. Psalm chapter 34 verse 4. I sought the Lord, and he answered me, he delivered me from all my fears. Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you, he will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. John chapter 14 verse 1. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. Romans chapter 8 verse 15. The Spirit you received does not make you slaves, so that you live in fear again, rather, the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship. And by him we cry, Abba, Father. Matthew chapter 10 verses 29 to 31. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care. And even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid, you are worth more than many sparrows. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 6. So we say with confidence, the Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Mark chapter 6 verses 49 to 50. But when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out, because they all saw him and were terrified. Immediately he spoke to them and said, Take courage. It is I, don't be afraid. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 14. But even if you should suffer for what is right, you are blessed. Do not fear their threats, do not be frightened. Luke chapter 12 verse 32. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has been pleased to give you the kingdom. Psalm chapter 56 verse 4. In God, whose word I praise, in God, I trust and am not afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Psalm chapter 103 verse 13. As a father has compassion on his children, so the Lord has compassion on those who fear him. Luke chapter 1 verses 30 to 31. But the angel said to her, Do not be afraid, Mary, you have found favor with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. Luke chapter 8 verse 50. Hearing this, Jesus said to Jairus, "Don't be afraid, just believe, and she will be healed." Psalm chapter 31 verse 19. How abundant are the good things that you have stored up for those who fear you, that you bestow in the sight of all, on those who take refuge in you. Isaiah chapter 51 verse 12. I, even I, am he who comforts you. Who are you that you fear mere mortals, human beings who are but grass? Luke chapter 12 verses 6 to 7. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 pennies? Yet not one of them is forgotten by God. Indeed, the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Don't be afraid, you are worth more than many sparrows. Matthew chapter 10 verse 28. Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather, be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Proverbs chapter 13 verse 8. A person's riches may ransom their life, but the poor cannot respond to threatening rebukes. Luke chapter 2 verse 10. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people." Psalm chapter 27 verse 3. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear, though war break out against me, even then I will be confident.
Thanks for watching. This is Life and Faith in Jesus Christ the Lord. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and press the notification bell for more videos. Thank you.